Yo, yo, yo.
You can hear me?
I can hear you right now.
Okay, good.
All right.
Okay, I think we're good.
All right, we're all set up. Okay, this will be the start of the VOD, so no complications before.
Okay, good. All right. So I did have some specific questions. Well, a specific area that I was hoping that we could work on
Sure.
today.
Sounds good.
That's dealing with early pressure.
Okay.
Just it kind of knocks me off my my macro, and I'm not quite sure how to address certain early attacks. Yeah, if I get like early attacks, like the chances of me winning is like very poor.
Okay.
So I have a couple thoughts. I do have like replays. I mean, I can watch them and I'm like, okay, I stopped making probes. Okay, I like let my army run away and they got killed, and I can kind of see that. I was wondering if maybe we could just do a couple of like custom matches, and you can just kind of different things and see how I respond to them, and then you can just maybe pointers as to what I could be doing better.
Yeah, that could work, honestly. Another thing that we could do as well, we could probably get someone to play with us on this, because there's like the range of skill you're at right now, which is around Gold League. There's going to be a lot more people we can get out of the chat as well to help assist if they would like. And what I could have, which would probably even be better, is if I have like someone who's also in Gold League or maybe Platinum, just all in you, and then I get to watch how you actually play the game instead of just having to go back and replay.
Okay. Yeah, part of the problem too is, I'm still pretty new to the game, so I don't really understand. Like, I'll do the scouting and I'm just doing the basic scouting, but I'll see something and I don't really understand really what it means. Like you talk a lot about, whether or not they take gas.
Sure.
But if I see they take gas or don't take gas, it doesn't really mean anything to me because I don't know how it's affecting
the easiest way to tell what, like, I don't like at the level of skill that you're at right now, I wouldn't even tell you have to do things like count the gas. Like you don't gotta do that stuff honestly yet. I would say at the earliest you should do that in like Platinum. If you wanted to try to do it, you totally could, but all you got to really understand is to know if your opponent's going to do a build that's like actually more on the aggressive side or more on the greedy side is something like this, okay? And this is only for the first base, because after the first base it gets a little bit more open-ended because you have more workers overall. So this concept doesn't really apply, as it does a little bit, but not as much, to 2 base, 3 base, 4 base, 5 base, whatever. The more workers you have, the less impactful taking a gas early is. But when you talk about 1 base, you're on your first base. Just know if someone expands, there's 3 different builds, okay? Or yeah, there's 3 different builds. When someone expands and they don't have a gas, that is greedy. When someone expands and they have 1 gas, that is safe. And when someone does not expand and they have 2 gases, or they take a really late expansion because they have 2 gases, because that's what will happen because it delays their minerals a lot, that is aggressive. So if you can put that into memory and go, oh shit, dude, I scouted this guy and I have 1 gas and I'm expanding, and his expansion's faster than mine, but he has no gas. Well, that means that he didn't invest time into taking a gas, which is why he's so greedy. That's why it's like, it's not something that's going to be aggressive, but it's something that'll give him an economical edge. But it's easier to be it's easier for you to attack him if you wanted to, if that was the route you were going to go in that kind of a game. But I'm not telling you to do that. I'm not telling you to react and attack your opponent. You should just do your build as is, because people who play greedy in Gold League still fuck things up constantly. It's just understanding that it's greedy. So that's as easy as you can make it for yourself, which is 0, 1, or 2 gas means greedy, safe, or aggressive.
Okay. And then the other thing, we don't have to talk about it too much, but when I get into longer games against Zerg and they have lurkers, they just like destroy my army. And I like, even if I watch the replay and I'm like ahead in the production, and then when like I hit them, like they wreck it, and then I try to like get my observers to hang back a little, and it seems like every time, no matter what I do, I just get wrecked by them.
Yeah, the lurkers are good. They're pretty strong. I would say the biggest thing about that is you just want to try to really make sure that you have enough army at the point in time when you're trying to take a fight. And the easiest thing you can do for yourself, this is something I didn't do. Like, I really do think macro will trump almost everything that you fight against, but if you actually do something I showed you guys in Platinum, which is a pre-spread of your army. It'll give you a better engage against lurkers too. Like if you know lurkers are there, all you can do is go, okay, have some of my army go to the right, some of my army go to the left. It's going to give me a really big concave, and then I'll go forward with my army against the lurkers, so you're more spread out and not so clumped up to get AoE'd as hard. But even then,
okay.
I don't even feel like that's mandatory in gold. I really feel like in gold, like if you just macro solid, you'll win.
Okay.
But it's an option. Cool. It is an option that you can always add into your gameplay if you want to.
Okay.
All right, so I asked around for the stream to get a player to help us here. I can go ahead and load up a game really fast, and then I'll get you into it, and I'll get someone else into it. But yeah, if you guys want to join in, do you have a race specific you want to do this against, Ashala?
Against? No, I think.
Just anything.
I struggle against them all. So.
Okay, sure. All right, so guys, what I'm looking for, if you guys want to help me here, is I'm looking for any race that is between gold or maybe like low plat, like not someone who's on the verge of diamond. We're talking like literally low plat or like upper gold, or anywhere in gold is fine. Just and then the idea would be is you play aggressive, and I'm gonna try and help Ashala learn how to read and defend aggression essentially. So. If that sounds like something you can do, go and let me know and hop on. And then Ashala, are you on an A right now? Alright, so I am in the Vibrator group chat. If anyone wants to jump in there. If you don't know how to jump in there, that is how you jump in there right there in chat. And then, I don't actually have a beautiful GM border right now, so it's going to be harder to message me privately. But, Ashala, what channel are you in, or do you want me to help you figure out how to join the Vibrator group chat yourself? I think he might be having a mic problem again right now. Oh no. No. The Hindu says hello. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Is that you? This is you, right, Ashala? I'm pretty sure this is you. I remember. I can't hear you talking on Discord though. Vibe, I'm in diamond, but I can try to play. No, well, like the dude, we're coaching someone in gold. I can't. Yeah, I can't hear you right now. Ashala, your mic has died on me. I'll give it just another sec. I don't really want to use a diamond guide just yet because it's kind of high. Vibe, I am gold 1 plat 3. How do I join? Go to the video right there. How to join chat. It's a lot of people don't know how to join a group in StarCraft because it's confusing, but it's a 1-minute video right there. You can follow. It makes it super easy peasy. Word, let me know if you can find anyone else, or if you can't find anyone else. Yeah, thank you, Vice. Much love. I might use you. I appreciate it. All right. So, what I was thinking, I'll just call you Hindu. I feel like Ashala. I might be saying your name wrong. I feel like I'm saying Ashala wrong. I'll call you Hindu if that's okay. If not, you tell me and I can call you. I can try to pronounce your name and making sure I'm doing it properly. Yeah, Hindu. Okay, I'll call you Hindu. Okay, Hindu. So what I'm thinking we can do, is I won't talk to you during the game right now. I'll kind of run you through it after because I don't want to. I feel like the more I talk to you, the more I'm going to distract you. But I will still talk during your game. It'll just be in the VOD because I'll mute my mic on Discord between the two of us. So the VOD will have a lot of information that I see as you're playing. And then when the game's over, I'll kind of reference that information and tell you about it. And then, you know, just talk about what I think you could be, you know, improving on and stuff like that. And then we'll kind of build from there. And we can either give you another aggressive game to play, or we can just kind of like really break down a way you can, you know, just really break down what's going on there for you. But I'll try to avoid talking to you during the game, just so I don't, because whenever I talk to people during games, a lot of times it gets so distracting where it takes you out of the mindset of playing the game. And I'm telling you about shit that happened 10 minutes ago, and you're like, wait, what? Oh, well, what do I do now, though? Like, it's distracting. Horse says, yo. Horse is plat. Chappie is gold. Chappie, are you... I'll say this. Horse, I'll use you if Chappie doesn't want to play. I kind of want to get someone who's gold to gold, because it is actually gold to gold right now. I don't know if he wants to play, though. Chappie, you want in? Question mark? Help with a coaching lesson. Gold be gold. If he doesn't say something in like the next 30 seconds, I'll just go ahead and invite Horse instead. Just to get something going. Alright. I don't think he's there. So let's go ahead and invite Horse then. Horse is... Horse, you can play whatever race you want as well. Yeah, you're platinum 2, 3, gold 1. Oh, Chappie is there. Oh, never mind. Shit, right at the last second. Chappie says hi. Alright, I'm gonna invite Chappie. Sorry, Horse. Almost. I appreciate you, man, though. Thanks for offering. Alright, so I'll just inform him what is going on. Chappie, if you can, okay, I don't know, he doesn't even know what's going on. Want to help with a coaching lesson? Question mark. Okay. All I need you to do is play aggressive. As aggressive as you like. You don't have to do anything specific. Just try to attack / kill Hindu. I'm a BTGM man. Okay, so he might not be comfortable doing this. Okay, so Horse, are you comfortable playing aggressive? If Chappie ain't feeling that shit? Yeah? Okay. Alright. No worries. I think I'll use Horse instead. Looking for aggressive defense lesson. Thanks, though, Chappie. Give him a little love heart. I'll make him a spectator, so I won't kick him out of the game. He can stay if he wants to. Okay, he left the game. Alright, okay, so I was thinking we just need to play like 5 minutes. No, don't worry, Hindu. I'm gonna get you someone aggressive. I'm gonna actually give you what you want in your lesson. I don't want to have you do BetaGM versus BetaGM. Fuck. Okay, yo, I need someone else to play if you guys can. Or you know what? If someone doesn't get on in the next like 1 minute to do this, I'll just play myself, Hindu. No worries. No worries. Alright. Give it another like 30 sec. If anyone in the chat I can? Okay, what is GC? Platinum 1 Zerg player. Okay, you need to throttle a tiny bit, GC, okay? Also, you have privacy on, GC. Turn privacy off. I can't invite you. Also, tone it down just a tad so you're not tryharding at almost a diamond level here. Happy face. Because, I mean, if he plays at, like, almost a diamond level, we're going to be getting, this is not a real lesson at that point, then. All right, I will make myself a ref. We'll play this game out. If this game is if this game, we'll see how it goes. But I can always play myself as well, Hindu, if this game is rough. And just kind of help you again, see what's going on. But I mean, hard games are always good for you at the same time. So don't yeah, it's all good. Are you guys both ready? Hindu's ready. Ready, GC? And then as soon as we start, I'll go ahead and mute myself, Hindu, and I'll talk to the VOD instead until this game's over. Okay, you guys ready? All right, good luck, dude. Good luck. Okay, so he can't hear me. Now you guys can hear me on Twitch chat. Oh, baby. Oh my God, and people on YouTube and the VOD can hear me. So, yeah, we'll see. All right, like this is gonna be potentially a mismatch here. This could be rough. We'll see how Hindu holds. Yeah. I haven't really seen him do anything yet, but let's see how he plays. So good to catch you live. Yo, what's up, barbecue sauce? Okay. So he's against a Zerg player, and he knows it. He's putting his first probe down to the natural to get a pylon set up. Now that's already a problem right there. Okay, pylon's out of place as well. Alright, it's manageable. I think you can still make it work. But that probe sat there for so long before it built a pylon. He's gonna supply block now for a little bit. Like, he's supply blocking for 4 seconds. Right off the bat. That's rough. Gateway is off. That gateway is way too low. Now there's gonna be... You could probably yeah, you could squeeze it in, actually, barely. That gateway should be more exposed, though. I'll explain why when we talk to him later. And cause you wanna tuck your core back a little bit if you can, and make your core have a little less surface area. But now the core is gonna be 100% exposed. So if you get 12 pulled, your core could fucking die so easy now. Probe is going to the natural too early. Yeah, so it's a little bit fucked up. Probe should be going down to the natural when you have 19 out of 20, and then as soon as you like, your 19th probe should be the one going down there. And like when you hit 20 out of 23, the probe should spawn at the nexus and be going down there when it says 20 on the supply. So this probe is way too early. All it did is it slows his gas down, which slows down things that he can make with gas, like stalkers. That core is off placement. It's corner to corner. It's going to make... Yeah, Hindu, it's looking rough. I can see why you're having problems with aggressive play. Like, this now corner to corner block means that you're going to fight like 3 lings at a time with your stalker in the doorway instead of 1 or 2. Because if your core was either down by 1, so there's overlap, or if it was over to the left like that, so there's overlap. Like, there's no overlap with the gateway and the core. It's literally diagonal. Gap. This is a humongous gap. Your unit will die so much faster. And your core is also... I mean, I guess it's early pull. But yeah, I mean, if it's got early pull, you got to make a zealot too. Well, there's a lot we can talk about here. Alright, and then keep making probes. And then don't stop making units. Yeah, this is definitely gonna die. This is good. I get to see a lot about what's going on. I think he's falling apart right now pretty hard without still no... There we go. There's so the build order is exactly the same too. Although I think it's fine to make a sentry second. I think there definitely needs to be a zealot here, and it's something that will definitely help him. All right, this is a good example. I definitely can see a lot of things we can talk about, Hindu, about how to help you as to what's going wrong here. I would definitely say if the game turns into a position like it is right now, you are definitely dead. So, if you want, what we can do is I can turn this into a replay myself. Just jump into the replay myself, and then I can share my screen with you on Discord, so you can see what my mouse is looking at, what I'm highlighting, and stuff like that. and you can get an exact correlation to like seeing, you know, as I go through the replay to help you out here. And then hopefully during this, if you want, you can try to fix your mic, because again, you got to realize this is going to be recorded. You're more than welcome to ask me questions on Discord too, though, while I'm in the game, because you're not in the game anymore with me. So if you ask me on Discord, oh, there we go. I can hear you now.
You hear me now? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because I quit StarCraft. Maybe I can do it on my phone again, and I'll just do it through my phone.
Sure, if you want. Yeah, it's fine. I can call you back again really fast then.
Yeah.
Wait, one thing though, really fast. If you do this through your phone, you won't be able to watch the share screen anymore, probably. I don't know how that works on the phone.
Oh, so I should I just watch the stream then? And get out of StarCraft?
Okay, yeah, if you want, that's fine. It's like a 2-second delay for what you're looking at then, but it won't be that bad because I don't have stream delay on today. All right, we'll call back on the phone then, and you could see visuals through the stream, I guess, but it will be mildly delayed for you.
Or if I talk to you on the phone, then I can just watch the replay on StarCraft itself.
Okay, I'll invite you to the game. That's fine. I'll jump out of this game and re-invite you into the replay as well.
Okay, let's try that.
All right, I'm gonna call you back right now, really quick. He's got to leave the call. Fuck. All right, make sure I can't call you back if you're still in the call. You have to disconnect it from it as well yourself. Just jump out of the call and I'll call you back again, so it'll like reset it all. Shit. There we go. Okay. Hello, hello. You hear me on the phone now?
Yeah.
Okay, sick. All right. I will invite you. Okay, so I don't see you in the channel anymore on StarCraft. So whenever you're ready, hop back on, and I'll invite you to the replay.
Yeah, I'm hopping on right now.
Okay.
Okay. All right, this should work. I have my headphones for my phone, so that should be just fine.
Sure.
I forget how we did it last time. Maybe something changed. Okay. So, okay.
Okay, I see you. And then, as always, feel free, if I'm mid-sentence, I don't mind at all. Interrupt me if you have any questions where you're like, wait, say that again, or that doesn't make sense. Like, definitely ask anything you can to help you understand everything as much as possible. But yeah, there's a lot of things that went on in this game that I can definitely see that you can fix. And I did reference all these things in the VOD already, but we'll definitely break it down now and talk about it.
Okay.
First things first, you are actually still building your buildings late. Like you supply blocked for 4 seconds. And it's a pretty big deal when it's the very start of the game, because like your probe starts right off the bat. It's 5 seconds in the game. Your probe's 5 seconds into production. That was great. The way you made the probe was great. The way you rallied the probe was great. And like right now, for instance, you should already be having another probe be started, and you're not. So like we're at 12 seconds, so your first probe is out, which is amazing. But now as the game goes on, you missed only 1 second there. You started another probe at 13. Not the end of the world, but it definitely makes sure you want to queue up that second probe behind the first probe, because there's no reason to delay it at all. And then this is the big one though. This is the huge one. Like right now, when your probe is running down to the natural, you should be grabbing this probe and like telling it to build a pylon as it's running down here. Like right now, you can tell it to build a pylon where you want to build it, because you have 100 minerals already right now as you're traveling there. But your probe gets here and sits here for a while. So it gets to the location that is not even where you want to build the pylon, because it's near where the nexus would go, right? So your pylon needs to go a little bit more northwest of that. But your probe is chilling and chilling and chilling and chilling. And you finally throw the pylon down when in the bank you had 170 minerals. That is very late pylon. And if you wait this long to build a pylon, all it's going to do is it's going to throw off everything for you. It's going to make your gateway late. It's going to make your core late. It's going to make your unit production late in general. So, like if you're struggling with all-ins and people who play aggressive, this is one major reason why you're going to struggle even more. Like you want to definitely make sure you are not missing the beat as much as possible on the opener of your build, because the more you do, the more difficult it'll be to not die. Now, I would say your pylon as well was maybe a little bit too far south. It's still okay though. Okay, I want you to know that this is not necessarily wrong. I'm not telling you, oh well, this pylon sucks ass. I just think that if you put it like maybe one more grid spot north of where it is, it will give you a more comfortable radius of putting buildings along your wall that you're going to make here in a second, because it is very bottom heavy on the left side, and it's not like it's really far away from the top. But it still works though. I just want you to know it still does work. It would just be more comfortable and easy to do it if you did it maybe a little bit higher. Now, here's a big one though. Where you place the gateway is another big one. So first things first, you do the same thing you did with the pylon with the gateway. Notice how your probe sits there the entire time. When the probe built the pylon and it never moved once. When your probe builds the pylon, you should move it to the left, like where the gateway is going to go down. Like, so your probe, again, doesn't have the travel time to go, I'm ready to build a gateway, and the probe goes, all right, let me travel there now to build it. Because there's no reason to not travel now when it's doing nothing. So you're adding in travel time plus delayed gateway time, which is once again going to delay your building. Which is only going to make it harder to defend all ins. Because your pylon is, like, if we go back just like 2 seconds, judging off the fact that your pylon was already probably like 6 seconds late, and now it finishes at 41 seconds in the game, you could be making the gateway right now if your probe is already right there right now, which would be no delay between pylon and gateway, because you can easily afford it as well right now. But look at how long goes by from 41 to what you actually build the gateway at. You start the gateway at 45 seconds because of travel time, and you had to your probe has to accelerate, and then it had to go around the pylon, which is a block. It was like blocking it essentially, and then it gets there, and then it finally starts the gateway at 45. So your gateway is 4 seconds late, on top of a pylon that was probably like 5 seconds late or something like that. So your initial gate is just very late already. And if you play against anyone who's aggressive, it like I said before, it just makes your life harder. And then scouting with your probe right after you build your gateway is what you want to do as well, and then that's what you do. And then from here on out, you chrono boost your nexus. This is correct. You make your gas. This is correct. But you do rally your nexus too early to the natural. Okay. So what you want to do is you want probe 19 to build the nexus at the natural. But what you're doing is you're sending probe 18 to build the nexus at the natural. And this is how, so a lot of people, this is where it gets a little confusing, and it will make sense if you think about it like this though. Your supply in StarCraft 2 is not something that says, oh, well, when the unit's out, it costs supply. Supply in StarCraft 2 is reserved, and then it continues to be reserved once the unit spawns. So if I have a probe in my nexus start, my supply goes up by 1 even before the probe has spawned, because it's reserving the supply for the probe that is now being in construction. That way you can't make like 20 fucking stalkers at the same time when you only have 2 supply open, and then suddenly all 20 of them pop out and you're over supply because it kicks in the supply once they're already made. You know what I mean? So it reserves supply so that you don't do things like that, where you can't make units more than what supply that you have. You have to be able to reserve it to be able to make it. So right now in the Nexus, this is probe 18 in the Nexus right now. But you only have currently 17 probes out, even though it says you're on 18 supply. So what you want to do is you want to send probe 19 to the natural, which is going to say you're going to be at 20 supply when you do that. And because if you do it early, your probe is going to sit there for a long time and do nothing. It's going to waste mining time. It's important as well because look at what this probe could be doing right now. Your gas is finishing right as the probe spawns. This probe, instead of waiting the whole time that the next probe is going to sit there, that's like you're going to basically miss out on about 12 seconds of gas mining, roughly. And that could give you an additional like 16 gas or like 12 gas, essentially. Like it's just going to increase the speed at which you can make all of your gas costing things, like your warp gate, your stalker, whatever. Really, it's going to make sure your build doesn't have any hiccups in it, because it's there. If you think about it, There is no upside to sending the probe right now, because if we watch the probe run from your nexus right now down to the natural, it will get here so early and it will sit here. And now watch, now it's sitting here ready to build the nexus right now. But now watch the probe that spawns in your nexus that's going into the gas right now. So that probe is going to spawn, go into the gas, and now it's starting to mine gas, right? And it's turning in gas. And your probe at the nexus at the natural still hasn't started it yet because you don't have enough money for it yet. So that's why this probe that's now starting to mine gas, and it's already mined 4 gas, this probe should be the one that goes down to build a natural. And at this point now, after this probe would have spawned and had enough time to run down to get ready to build your nexus at the natural, your first probe that's been sitting there the whole time wouldn't have just mined 4 gas by this point now. It would have probably mined like 20 by now, because you would have mined 16 while the previous one was like being built, roughly. So you would just have more gas in the bank for the exact same build order that you're doing. So yeah, make sure you're doing that too. Make sure that as soon as you hit 20 supply, which is 1 probe in reserve, and you're only on 19 real probes, that probe is the one that goes down and scouts the natural. So the perfect way to also think about that is you have 16 on the mineral line, 1 in the gas, and 1 scouting probe, and then finally your 19th probe, because you got 16 plus 1 plus 1 is 18, because you got 1 scout, 1 gas, 16 minerals, and then the newest probe then that spawns is now nexus probe. So you can think about it in a way where you have 3 isolated probes doing their own jobs and 16 on the mineral line, because you got 16 minerals, 1 gas, 1 scout, 1 nexus builder. So 19 is the guy who builds the nexus, not 18. It's a big deal. It fucking your gas over like this is just going to slow you down like crazy. Now, we're going to talk about one more thing about your build that's important, and then we're going to talk about your scout in a second. Now, going back to your gateway, speed it up just a little bit, go back to the gateway exactly. So the where you built this gateway right here is a little bit rough for you. And the reason why is because what you're doing is, if you look at the wall on the left side of the gateway, the wall you're building against, essentially, you're putting the gateway in a situation where if you look at that straight horizontal line that goes up from the ramp and then it makes a horizontal line that goes towards your gateway, if you make it like a green box that goes towards your gateway, it goes through the center of the gateway. And what that means is this is terrain that blocks the middle of your gateway off and the bottom of your gateway off. So you basically, what you did is you tucked your gateway back into like a harder to attack position. And you actually want to expose your gateway more, because if you expose your gateway more, it allows you to tuck your core back a little bit on most maps that don't have a massively wide open choke point. And you actually what you really want to do with your wall is you want to make it harder for Zerg to kill your core and easier for Zerg to kill your gateway, because you want your gateway to take damage, not your core. Your core is more valuable than a gateway, and your core still needs to be part of this wall. And the reason why this is really important is because if your core dies, if a Zerg pressures you and your core is really exposed, and then your core dies as a result of that, the chances of you dying to a Zerg's pressure from that point on are very high. Like, you probably will just die. Because you can't make stalkers anymore, you can't make sentries anymore, you can't make adepts anymore, you can't make your tech anymore. Like, everything gets locked out from Protoss. So, if you're looking at the VOD of this YouTube video, or if you're looking at the stream right now, again, you can see my mouse is green boxing. You'd want your gateway going like right about, literally like right here. Like, you want it to be up to the left a little bit. You want it to be, you want the bottom left of the gateway to be on the north side of the wall, overlapping the wall just a little bit. Like 1 grid overlap. So you'd want your gateway would be over the wall a little bit, so that you could then put your core, for instance, like this right here, which would have an overlap of the gateway, and then you could put your second gateway either like up here or back here or something. But again, if you put it back there on the right side of the core, it would be more exposed in the core. So if your pylon was up by 1 and you could put the gateway above the core a little bit, you could tuck your core back and have it be really hard for the Zerglings to hit the core. We'll talk more about this. We'll come back to this as well when we also see your core placement, because your wall was super fucked for properly defending your base. And so again, I'll even give you like a paint of this or something, just to really make sure you know what I'm talking about, because yeah, it's a big deal, and we'll come back to it. But now let's talk about your scout. So your scout goes across the map, probe's going out, gets to his base, and now here's an important thing to understand. If you get to a Zerg's base and you have already built a gas, a pylon, and a gateway, and your gateway also at this point is like almost done, and you're at like 19 supply right now, and your Zerg opponent has barely, if they either have no natural or if they've barely started a natural at this point. This is not hatch first from Zerg. This is definitely some pool first garbage going on here, because the hatchery should be further along than it is right now. Now, that's a sign that tells you, okay, we're probably going to get attacked, and I'm probably going to need to make a zealot. You do need to make a zealot versus Zergs who play like this. If you just don't make a zealot at all and you just go straight stalker, the chances of you dying are very high. Super high if the Zerg is going to start being aggressive to you. So when you get into his base further, this is correct scouting that you're doing right now, and you give yourself the means to see what's going on in his base. And you see a pool that's done right now. And you also see 1, 2 eggs with a larva sitting there. So that could be 3 eggs all at once, essentially, if this guy wanted to. That is another sign that tells you should probably be making a zealot, because Zerg is a unique situation where they can make a spawning pool faster than Terran or than Protoss can make a gateway or a barracks. Zerg is unique in that way because Zerg is the only race that doesn't actually need to make an overlord before they make a spawning pool. However, if you play Terran, you cannot make a barracks until you make a supply depot, and if you it's just a build order requirement. And if you play Protoss, you cannot make a gateway until you build a pylon because of the pylon field requirement. So Zerg is very unique in that sense that it can make a pool very fucking fast. And if they do make a pool before they expand or before they make a second overlord, which is what this guy did, because it's done already by now. Like, your gateway's not done, but his pool's been done for a bit now. You definitely need to make sure that you have the means to make a zealot. So if you see this, the correct response would be chrono boost the zealot right now. Like, just chrono boost out a zealot immediately, and then start your core, and then make your second gateway, because you need a wall off or you're going to get fucked here, like, very hard.
Okay, so when I see this this second hatchery, it should be like green, that bar at the top.
It should be at least halfway done, like, because so this is where it'll be confusing if you don't do this all the time. Your scout needs to be more accurate, and what I mean by that is if you delay your pylon, and then you delay your gateway, and then you scout based off of your gateway going down. If you're scouting some games like 12 seconds later than you should be, it'll throw off your timers and be like, wait, what? Why did he attack me? But his hatch looks somewhat normal though. Like, last time I scouted someone who was at 50% hatchery when I did it perfectly, and this game I scouted him and his hatchery was at 40%, but I was 12 seconds late. Why did he attack me one game and he didn't attack me the other game? And it could be a major reason, is the sense of your build was super delayed one game and it wasn't another, and it throws off your timer. So your timer doesn't need to just be based off of your gateway. It needs to be based off the fact that your gateway is supposed to be going down at an appropriate time, which means it should actually be based off of a time, like a clock, essentially. Like, if we're at, basically, if a Zerg is playing normal, just know this, okay? If a Zerg is playing normal, their hatchery should be finishing roughly around like 2 minutes at their natural. And if that's what happens for the Zerg, if you know, think about it like this, okay? Think about it like this. For a Zerg player to build a hatchery that is going to be finishing around the natural, that means that that structure itself is a 71-second build time structure. So to give you a rough estimate of what you should be looking at, the Zerg should be throwing down their natural by probably 50 seconds in the game, roughly. Again, this is like an average build for Zerg. Some builds are a little different, but it's a good estimation to understand what you're looking at. Now, if you get to the Zerg's base at you cross the hatchery at 1 minute and 15 seconds, and you have to ask yourself, okay, this hatchery has a 70-second build time structure, and what? Now this is where it gets a little bit harder to read, where you could say, okay, what is the build time of this hatchery, and like it's 71 seconds, but what is like the current build of it worth in the amount of time if I had to guesstimate? Like you could be like, okay, this hatchery maybe looks like it's worth like 12 seconds or something like that. And if you subtract 12 off of what you're already at, you could go, okay, well, if we go back 12 seconds, does that go back down to 50? If the answer is no, it means his hatchery is delayed by at least either a bit or a substantial amount, depending on what time you see the hatchery. So, because like, again, it's just an estimation on what you think this bar represents of the total time, right? On the HP of the hatchery that's above it. So if we're going to assume 12 seconds, and it means we're going to go back down now from 115 to like 103, that's still a 13-second late hatchery on average. And Zergs who play safer and go for faster expansions, like they want to make sure they don't go as greedy with their drones, they could even be taking hatcheries at like 45 seconds or something like that. So, yeah, this is a very late hatchery. And that already is a sign that tells you, okay, yeah, this guy's most likely going for pool earlier. That's why you should never think about StarCraft in a way where you go, well, his build's just delayed. That must mean that he just doesn't know what he's doing. You think about why is it delayed, and it probably means he's doing something else. Because a lot of people that think about StarCraft that way, where they go, oh, well, maybe he just built it late, just by accident. Maybe he had 500 minerals in the bank, and then he finally built the hatchery. Like, that's not ever a way you should think about the game. Because if that was the case, even if you go, well, he has to be going pool first, but you realize, wait, what? He actually just fucked up, and he, like, just built really late. Even if you react in a way that makes sense, where you go, it had to be pool first, but it wasn't, you're still ahead anyways, because all that means is your opponent's build is now just inefficient and crappy and really bad. And then no matter what, you're going to win the game from there, because your opponent's build is terrible. And that doesn't usually happen. It's not usually the case of what happens in StarCraft.
So like a kind of a non-aggressive Zerg opening, they do, it's hatchery first and
yes.
then the pool?
Yep. Okay. Hatchery first is usually what you... So what a pool does for you is it unlocks queens, and it unlocks Zerglings and more tech to go beyond that. But the big one it unlocks, though, like, you could argue that it unlocks a macro aspect because it unlocks queens, which you can inject your hatcheries with. But overall, if you expand first and then you make queens, multiple at a time, rather than making one queen at a time and then slowly expanding, it makes more sense for macro to expand first. And the biggest reason why is because not only does it give you a little bit more larva in the end when you have multiple injects running faster because you expanded first, rather than just one inject running only, but another reason why it doesn't make a lot of sense to go pool first for macro, and why you should be going hatchery first, is because if you do go pool first for Zerg to make a queen faster, you're already going to be fully saturated on your mineral line by the time your queen is out, and you're going to make it a larva inject pop off on your hatchery, and you're going to oversaturate your mineral line, which is going to be really inefficient mining. So you can't really argue that pool first is good for macro, because you just oversaturate the crap out of your base, and then it gives you bad income for like the drones that are excess. Like, they would have been much better off on a natural, but it's the same thing if they're oversaturated, or if they're long distance mining, that is not good income. So generally speaking, if a Zerg wants to play macro efficiency, they need to go hatch first, because of the fact that you'll saturate the main base super fast because you start with 12.
Okay. And then when should the pool be done if they did that?
At the same time as the hatchery.
The pool is already...
So the pool and the hatchery, they either finish at the exact same time because they went hatchery first, because a pool is a faster build time structure than a hatchery is. So like if you go hatchery first and then a little bit later you build a pool, they'll finish at the same time. But if you have a pool that's already done and a hatchery that's really early, it means they went pool first 100%.
Okay. So if I get here and the pool's done and the hatchery's not done, they went pool first.
Yeah, especially when it's this much of a discrepancy, because a spawning pool has a build time of like 46 seconds, and a hatchery has a build time of 71. So there's almost like a 30-second difference in time there, which is a major difference there. So if you get here and the pool's done, and then if you know, okay, well this is a 40, like we'll go right back to here, okay? Go right back to here, right when you scouted his base. So you get in there right now, and you just saw the pool right here. And the pool's now done. You're like, yep, I can see that. I can see the pool. It is clearly finished. If you know that this thing takes 46 seconds to build, you know that even if this pool literally just finished the millisecond before you got here, and it literally just popped up for at the earliest, this pool is done, or sorry, this pool would have been started around like 35 seconds in the game, because subtract 46 off of what you're at right now. And there is no fucking way that this guy could have taken a pool at like 35 seconds in the game and also went hatch first. Because that would be like you saying, well, I went Nexus before I took my gateway first. Which you could not have afforded. There's no way you could have went pylon Nexus gateway and still had a gateway at the same speed that you have it. All right, and then again now, well, let's talk about this. This is something I want you to look at on my stream really fast, because I feel like it'll be easier to understand like exact, because like StarCraft 2 rounds buildings off with circles, even though they're not circles, so it's harder to understand sometimes. But this is exactly what's happening to you, and it's a problem if you let this happen in the future. So you have a wall, and then you have a wall. In your natural, right? That's kind of what your natural looks like. And then like this is the blue circle here is where you're going to put your Nexus down, and these are the mineral patches that you mine from, shit like that. Like that's, and then the green is obviously your gas. Oops. Your gas over here. Pretty fucking normal base, right? But now here's how you're building your wall. This is how I'll put it in red for how you're building your wall. What you're doing is you're putting your first wall, or your first gateway is like this right here against the bottom of the wall. And then your core is like this. Okay, I actually made this a little bit too far to the north here. Sorry, let me erase that. It's a little bit fucked up. Just need to make this a little bit further to the right, because that's really what it is like in the game. It's like that, and then it goes up again. So your gateway is really tucked back on the first part of the wall here. And then your core goes diagonal from the gateway, like that. And then your final gateway can either go in like up here, or it could go in like back here or something, shit like this. So this is a difficult wall for you, and the reason why is because there is no overlap. If a stalker were to stand right here in the doorway, there is no overlap between your gateway and your gateway. And what that means is if you make a straight line through your gateway like this, it has no overlap with another building, the core. If you make a straight line, and that's the top side of the gateway, right? Because you're walling northeast of your gateway. So if you make a line through the north side of your gateway, there's no overlap. And if you make another line through the east side of your gateway, there's no overlap. If you do that, your stalker is going to get fucking, or zealot, or whatever's in the door is going to get massively overwhelmed and surrounded and die. So now if we go back into the replay now, in the end of the game, if I make a line through your gateway on the north side, there is no intersection of your core. And if I make a line to the east side of the gateway, there is no intersection with the core. It's exactly what I'm talking about. Where there is, it just means your door is massively wide. Like, it'd be like saying, if you have a doorway, if you have your door ajar a little bit, and you're trying to only let maybe a little bit of water flood through the door, and or like liquid is coming through the door, and you're trying to like close it, but the door is mostly closed, so only a little bit comes through at a time. It's the same concept as that. Or like imagine if the door is completely wide open, and like liquid's coming through, and it's like full, like let's say it's like flooding like with mass water. It just comes through at full speed. Because there's no stoppage there or anything like that. So what you need to do to fix this, going back into paint now on the stream, when you make your wall, it needs to look like this. So first things first, again, you'd want your wall, instead of your core being where it is, you'd want to move it now to either like right here, or you'd want to move it to like right here. And what that means now is now you have overlap either there or there. So again, if we make it like a purple for the secondary core placement, it could also be right there. So now what that does is, if you think about it, you have a place where you can put your stalker now in the doorway or in the doorway. And now there is no ling damage that can just fucking destroy you. Because the way you had it first, again, was like this. It's literally like you go to the corner and you don't overlap at all. You went to the corner and you just went up like this. This is how you built your core. Which is, like I was saying before, there is no intersection of core to gate in any way on the east or north side. So now if your stalker stands in the doorway again, like we talked about, like right here, Jesus. There is a guaranteed 3 lings at a time could hit your stalker. Right here. For a surface area. And that's going to speed up how fast your stalker dies like crazy in that doorway. Like, you're never going to hold the door if that happens, essentially. But if you're, again, the last thing I'll say about this, because I want to make it repetitive, but I want to make sure you understand. If your core is, like, placed in a proper spot where there is an intersection in the right spot, like that, if your stalker stands in the doorway like this, in the tucked area that is defensive, only if, now here's where AI is, where you again, you're taking advantage of the situation for yourself, sorry. If a Ling AI is dumb, or if the Zerg player doesn't realize how to fix this, if one Zergling stands in the middle, like that, to hit the stalker, every other Ling will be dumb, and it will not be able to fit behind that Ling, and they will only wait for that Ling to die, and only one Ling at a time will hit the stalker. Now, if Lings are not, if the guy just A-moves and Lings don't happen to be stupid, or if he move commands them a little bit to move them in back here to make them really hug the stalker, and then A-moves them, then he will have 2 Lings, because if the guy fixes the Lings and they aren't super dumb, you can actually fit 2, Jesus, I hate when it does that. You can fit 2 Lings side by side against the stalker in the doorway, just like that. You can literally have them side by side smacking a stalker, but this still is only 2 Lings as opposed to 3, and Lings are units that do damage ridiculously fast. But the downside of a Ling is it's a melee unit, so it's limited by surface area. So you want to minimize as much surface area as you can, and to do that, you need to have a proper wall. Your wall needs to have some type of intersection where one side of the, like the west side of the core intersects with the east side of the gateway, or the north side of the gateway intersects with the south side of the core. Something like that has to happen. You cannot have corner to corner blocks. You will get fucking destroyed if you do that. As you know, we said here, this is such an open spot. And the craziest thing of all, the last thing we'll say about this is about the correct placement of the core over the gateway. If your unit is now also not in the absolute perfect spot that it's supposed to be, let's say it's a little bit too far south, or a little bit too far north, or a little bit too far west, just by a little bit. It literally has only one exact location it can actually block the door from here still. What if you're slightly out of position? Lings could actually run past your unit on a side of your stalker or whatever it is in the door, and you could get fully surrounded because you don't have, like, you're like a goalie trying to defend a goal in soccer, and you have your arms spread out, but the goal is way bigger than you, and you're like, fuck. Hopefully, like, the ball doesn't go into the net right now, because it's like, this is really hard to guard this. This is huge. You've created like a massive opening of your base. So if Lings have a means to squeeze by you, they totally will, and they'll fully surround your stalker, and it will die so fast. You'll never guard anything like that. So you got to be really careful about that. It's super important. And now going back one more time, and we're talking about one more thing now. Now we're going to talk about surface area concept of Lings on top of your core. So this time, just for the purpose of making it easy to understand, let's make the core purple, okay? So your core was like right there this game, right? Or make a square. Your core was like right there this game. It was corner to corner. There's no intersection. And then now your final gateway can either go, and your pylon was also way back here. It was a bit far back, like down below. It's not, again, if it was, because it's hard to reach the pylon field's hard to reach the top wall. It's easy to reach the left wall, but it's hard to reach the top wall, right? Because it's a bit far down. So realistically, the only way you're probably going to be able to put a gateway here is, I don't think you're going to be able to put one right over there. I think that's too far away from your pylon, because the center of the pylon needs to be powering the gate, and that's a little bit out of range. So I feel like the only way you're going to be able to put a gateway down is if you put it right there, honestly. So if you do that, if you put a gateway right here, essentially, where this now is your final gateway, like right there, and now you have your final gate blocking the door on the other side, what happens is Lings, which will make them brown or something now, or we'll make them green, because I don't want to have the same color. Lings could now stack all over your core and kick the shit out of your core, and have, like, you could have like probably 6, 7, 8, 9 Lings on the core. Like, much more than 6, honestly. More like 8 or 9 Lings on the core, because you've exposed it so fucking hard. And if you do this, you're never gonna have enough money to actually make your robo. You're never going to have money to make any type of a tech building behind this because it's going to die so fucking fast versus aggressive Zerg players. So at most, all you're going to be able to do, and by the way, when your core is done, your core guaranteed is going to finish faster than your second gateway because a core, again, has a faster build time than a second gateway. Like a gateway has a longer build time than a core. It's 46 seconds to 36 seconds. And if you're going to go core against Zerg and you're going to make a second gateway like this against a player who's playing aggressive to you, you're going to make your core first and then you're going to make your second gateway. That's just how it's going to go. So your core is going to be done before your second gateway is done. That's just what you need to understand. And if this happens where your core is super exposed, there is a good chance your core might actually die before you're even able to utilize your second gateway because it's still in construction. It's not even done yet. So all that you're going to be able to get out of this core is what I'm trying to say is you're going to get like one stalker out of, or either one stalker or like one adept, and then your core is going to fucking die. If you expose your core like this super hard, it's very abusable. So how do you fix that? Does that always have to happen? It doesn't. The way you fix that now is you change your placement of building. So again, your pylon, if your pylon, instead of being like down here against the bottom side, if you put your pylon more centralized in the choke point of the door, okay, that's for step one, because again, it's like the very bottom of the wall here. You want to centralize the pylon more than you did. So that will help you a lot. It'll give you a bigger pylon radius around your doorway there, right? Instead of having the pylon super far south, like down here, or like down here rather, and then your pylon radius is only like that, right? Like it's like barely able to touch the top of the wall, where like you can only put a gateway there if it's on like the south side, essentially. So centralized pylon, super big, super fucking big. Centralized pylon will help you a lot. And then what you can do is you could put your core intersecting whatever way you gotta go. If it's got to go, or actually, we got to fix your gateway placement too. The way you place your gateway, like I said before, it's super far tucked back. You don't want your gateways to be tucked back. You want your gateways to be more exposed. So, if we actually delete your gateway, okay, I deleted the fucking wall again on accident. Let's fucking fix that again now, Jesus. So your gateway could be like this, all right? Your gateway, instead of being right here, tucked back behind this wall right here, like it is, you could put your gateway like over here instead. You expose it a lot more. Now the gateway is way more exposed. So let's make your pylon first, okay? That's because we don't want to miss the pylon. So pylon should be in the middle. Pylon should be like right here, the very middle of the area. Maybe a little bit smaller because it's kind of big for what a pylon actually looks like. So there's the pylon in the middle. Your gateway, instead of being tucked in the back like this, it gets made on the outside like this, like that right there. There is your gateway placement. Perfect gateway. That is a nicely placed gateway. And now behind this, we can make our core. If your pylon's too close and you can't fit it in because the pylon overlaps the gateway, then you obviously can't make it like this. That's totally fine. But your core could be made like this right out here. Okay? So your core could be made outside, overlapping. There is overlap between core and gate. Okay, Jesus. There is overlap between core and gate right there, so that's perfect. There's either one overlap horizontally or vertically. And then finally, your last gateway could be made that is intersecting. Again, you don't want to corner to corner it because that will not block properly because links could actually squeeze through the corner there. If you do that, so you definitely don't want to corner block ever. That's fucking really scary. So what you want to do is you want to overlap, again, just like you did the first time, with one grid spot. And you could have it go to the northeast side again, and you could have it wall off the wall here, just like that. And now you once again have a corner-to-corner grid spot that is either going to block on the north or the east side because you're going northeast with the wall. It does have overlap with the other building. And now what you do is you limit surface area to now when there could have been like 8 lings on top of that core. Now suddenly you can only get realistically like maybe like 2 lings on the top side and then like maybe 3 lings on the south side. So now instead of having 8 or 9 lings hitting the core because it's so exposed, you could, because the alternative would have been, if you remember, the gateway would have been on the right side, which completely allows more lings to stack up on the north side of it and maybe even get squeezed into the corner here and then go all the way along the north side. So, and then also you didn't have a stalker blocking the door here. So you could have even had another Ling like standing on the corner on the bottom side if you do the previous wall like you did, like in this game right here. It's just so much surface area on that core that exists. So now realistically, we've taken off the surface area of maybe like 2 or 3 Lings off of this core, which lowers the DPS like crazy on how many Lings can kill it as fast. And now you have a much higher chance to actually keep it alive to make shit out of your other buildings much faster. So this is super important. I would say if there's anything you need to take away from this lesson so far, this example of how to wall is very fucking huge. You need to wall like that. If you don't, you are going to lose so much against Zerg forever. It's never going to go away. You have like the only way Zerg overcome, or the only way Protoss overcomes Zerg with aggressive play is if you learn how to wall properly. You have to wall properly. And then finally, the last thing is, after all, we can get out of this paint now. It's kind of irrelevant now. The last thing we'll talk about here that is really, 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 really huge is when you scout a Zerg and they're going for pool first, like we talked about, you have to make a Zealot. Because if you make a Zealot, you can chrono boost out a Zealot for 2 reasons. Number 1, you chrono boost out a Zealot so that if the Zerg is making Lings really fast, your Zealot is out and in the doorway before the Zerg can run into your base. Because if the Zerg runs into your base, you need to realize you've already lost the game. 9 times out of 10. The goal is don't let him in my base. Like, hold the door, essentially. You're going to Hodor that shit. Because if you don't hold the door, you die. And then secondly, the other thing is in order to hold the door, you need to build a second gateway now. Because you need to actually have a wall. So you need to make a Zealot, and you need to have a second fucking gateway down right now because you need to wall off immediately. And what this will do to you a lot of times, like, so this guy actually didn't go 12 pool. He didn't go the fastest pool he could have. He kind of delayed it a little bit. But if this guy would have gone for like the fastest pool possible, it is impossible to wall off before you build a Nexus. Like, if you do it after you build a Nexus, you have to do it before you expand. And if you want examples of this live, I've done it multiple times versus Zerg in, I think, maybe Gold League. I can't remember if I've done it in Gold League or not, but I 100% know I've done it in Platinum a few times. Versus Zergs who started getting more aggressive with like 12 pools and shit. There are some games sometimes when a Zerg goes for a 12 pool as fast as possible and they make Lings go at your base as early as they can, and you do not have the amount of time that you need to build a Nexus and double gate and a core and then a Stalker. Like, your core will be almost done and Lings will literally run in your base and kill your pylon, and then you're going to be like, okay, well, or not even, honestly. Your core will be like halfway done and then Lings will run in your base and kill the pylon. And you just won't be able to make a Stalker because you can't even start it yet. And then not only that, your pylon will unpower, it'll get killed and unpower your buildings here, and you can't make one period from then on ever. And then there'll be, if Lings constantly just come to your base nonstop from that point on, you'll never have enough probes to beat the Lings. So you have to make a Zealot. You 100% have to make a Zealot. And if you're making double gate and a core and a Zealot and a pylon and then a second pylon, so you can also not supply block because you're making a Zealot now too, you'll never have enough money to make a Nexus at that point in the game, which will mean your Nexus is delayed by probably like 45 seconds. But it's okay because your opponent's 12 pulling you, and he's also not going for economy himself. So, anything about what I just said? How do you feel? How does that make sense, or how are you feeling?
Yeah, it makes sense. So, okay, if I scout and I see the pool's done,
yep,
that means high chance of aggression. So, I'm a little bit confused about the build order. So then should I go ahead and still make Nexus? Do I make the second gateway?
So this is why StarCraft 2 gets to be a more confusing game as you get higher level, because it becomes judgment calls. I'm going to tell you right now, a Zerg player could go for a 12 pool, a 13 pool, a 14 pool, a 16 pool, a 17 pool, an 18 pool. They could do all these different kinds of builds, right? And what you need to understand is you need to understand how to read what that was. And the way you need to do that is if you don't delay your pylon and your gateway and you scout the Zerg's base, there's 2 things you need to identify. You need to identify when you get there, and hopefully you're doing this at a proper time. This is why I referenced the gateway and pylon for you. Make sure you don't delay that for no reason, and you just don't realize your scout's super late. But if you get to the Zerg's base and you scout, what the first thing that is very important is, did he go hatchery or pool first? And again, a hatchery almost is double the build time of a pool. It's way fucking longer. So if the hatchery is a much longer build time structure, the only way the pool should be finishing is it should be finishing at the same time as the hatchery, or maybe even slightly after the hatchery. Okay? If that is not the case, this dude went pool first. There is no fucking way a pool's going to finish before the hatchery and it was hatchery first. That is not going to happen. There is a situation where that could happen, but I'm not even going to reference it because it's not going to happen. I'm just going to tell you right now that no one's going to play like that. I guess I'll explain just so you're not confused. The only way someone could ever go hatchery first and then pool right after and have the pool actually finish before the hatchery is if they just don't spin their larva. And then if a Zerg does that, again, it falls in the realm of inefficiency and it's sucky and it's really bad. Like, that means that the Zerg is just bad player. And it doesn't matter what he's doing, you're going to win either way. If he's like, well, I just don't make larva. I'm just going to only make buildings and then just never use my larva for 2 minutes or like 90 seconds or whatever. But realistically, if the Zerg is actually using their larva, which is, it'd be like saying that, it would be like, let me give you an example of what it would be like to Protoss, what I just gave you. It'd be like saying you're not going to make any probes and you're going to make a pylon and then you're going to make a nexus and then you're going to make a gateway and you're not going to make a single probe the entire game until you do that. That's like the example I just gave you. Like, no one is going to fucking do that because that is so bad. Be like, oh, I still only have 12 workers at 1 minute and 40 seconds in the game. Like, again, no one's going to do that. So, anyways, going back to the Zerg's base, you should see the hatchery done started first, or the pool would be going first. You have to identify which one that is. And again, if it's hatchery first, pool hatchery finish at the same time, roughly, like very close together. Like, you should be seeing them finish within about 5 seconds of each other. And you need to understand a hatchery has a 71-second build time and a pool has a 46-second build time. So when you pass by this guy's base, when you scout him like this, you're not questioning what it means when you see your probe run by that hatchery. You're not like, I don't understand. And then going into his base like this, you go, okay, well, I guess since the pool's done, it means he went pool first, right? Question mark? No, it's 100% pool first because hatchery is a 71-second build time structure. Spawning pool is a 46-second build time structure. So the only way this pool should be fucking done right now, if it was hatchery first, is if the hatchery is also done right now. Because the hatchery is... Because you got to think about... This is, again, a concept that people need to understand. You can't build everything at the same time. You have money that has to be generated, and then you build structure with that money that you generated. So if you go hatchery first, and you... Like, I would assume if you go hatchery first, you're going to build it right when you have enough money to build a hatchery. You're not going to have double what a hatchery costs, and you're just sitting there going, well, I don't know. I guess, you know, maybe I won't build it now, maybe I will. No, most people in StarCraft are going to build structures when they have the minerals needed to build the structure, right? So if he goes hatchery first, he has to then start the process over now to build up the resources to save up for a pool and then build the pool, while also maintaining larva usage. So it's going to take longer, right? That's why if you have a spawning pool that starts like almost half a minute later after a hatchery, they're going to finish at the same time, because that means that the Zerg was actually using the larva and also collecting minerals as well to save up more money to then build the pool eventually, so that the pool and the hatchery finish at the same time. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So, just making sure you're not, because I don't want to be confusing at all. So, that's why, again, you should just, that's step one, right? We know if the Zerg is going for pool first or if he's going for hatch first. And if the Zerg is going for hatch first, it's definitely in the more macro realm, at least to start the game off with, which means you don't need to make like a zealot. However, when you get to the Zerg's base, you just got to the Zerg's base, and your gateway isn't even done yet. This is another way to tell, holy fuck, this guy is aggressive. Your gateway isn't even done yet, and his pool is done. This is a huge sign that tells you, okay, yeah, no, this is also... His hatchery, not only is it just starting, but his pool is done, and my gateway isn't even done yet. That's fucking pool first, absolutely. Because if a Zerg goes hatchery first, and both hatchery and pool finish together, your fucking gateway is going to be done by then, guaranteed, if it's hatch first. Like, your core is going to be almost done by then, too. Not Gateway isn't even finished yet, and his pools and hatchery are done. So you have to understand that that's also a thing, right? If this is a normal build from Zerg, his pool would be coming online when your core is probably 75% of the way finished. So there's easily enough time for you to make a stalker before he, like if he makes a Ling and then runs across the map, there's easily enough time for you to make a stalker with Chrono Boost and then have it in your doorway before he gets to your base. Because he has to also cross the map, right? So the time discrepancy is not big there for you to make a stalker, and then you're fine. But if the pool is fucking done already before your gateway's even done, you haven't even started the core yet, this is a big sign of pool first again. And if you wait to make a core and then make a stalker, you're not going to be starting a unit for yourself for at least a minute. Like what I mean by that is, at least a minute is going to go by and your stalker is still not going to be out on the map yet. Whereas he could already be making Lings right now, and it does not take a minute to cross the map. So this is why I say you're going to die if you don't make a Zealot. So that's the second one, right? The second one is identifying, just a reminder, is this fucking pool done before my gateway's done? Because if the answer is yes, yeah, this pool first. So you can base it off the hatchery, and you can base it off your gateway.
So should I skip the core and just build a second gateway if I see that?
No. And the reason why I say that is because your gateway was late this game. And if your gateway's on time, the pool will still finish faster than the gateway because you can go pool before pylon, as a Protoss can't go pylon before, or a Protoss has to go pylon first. So Zerg can always win that race. But you really want to get a core out ASAP. You really want to get a core out as fast as fucking humanly possible. And your probe will not be getting to the Zerg's base until your first gateway is about to be finished. That's normal. Like, that's just going to happen every time. Like, you're going to be seeing the Zerg spawning pool when your gateway has literally, like, maybe 5 seconds left in production. Because this is another thing you got to understand about StarCraft 2. Maps are designed mathematically. They're not random. Every map is like this. It's not... Like when a guy or in Blizzard, or when a map maker who gets, like, you know, gets their maps into StarCraft 2, when they make a map, it's not chaotically random, and it's not just like, well, fucking, I don't know, that looks pretty, I'll put that there, I'll put this there, and that's just what my map will be now. And then some maps have like a 50-second crossing distance, and some maps have a 2-minute cross distance, and some maps have a 15-second cross distance. It's not like that. Every map inside StarCraft 2, from natural to natural, for the most part, is 30 seconds. It's really close to 30 seconds. Like, if it's not, it's within 1 or 2 seconds of that. Like, every map is about the same rush distance per map. It's very rare that it's not 30 seconds or very close to that. Like, it's always around 28 to 30 or 32 or something like that. So if you think about that, if you start your core, or sorry, if you start your gateway and you leave your base and get to his base, and 30 seconds has passed already, and now you're starting to scout into his main base. Like, you're really getting into the main at this point now, and you're scouting around the main base. A gateway is a 46-second build time structure, and like, if you add on an additional, like, let's say 10 seconds to now scout a lap around the main base more or less and see the pool, your gateway is going to be super close to finishing by the time you notice the pool's done. And it's going to happen every game that way, because every map has similar distances to cross the map. So that's always going to be this. That's like a guaranteed exact right there for every map you play. So yeah, if you go core first and then make second gateway, the reason why this is good is because, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, if you go gateway first and then core, I'm not like, oh, don't do that ever. That's not terrible. The point is you should be making both at the same time. That's what I'm trying to say here. Like, you're never gonna have a moment where it's like, well, I'm gonna make 2 gateways and then 30 seconds later I'll make my core. That doesn't exist. It shouldn't exist, because the only way that would exist is if you just aren't macroing and you're just forgetting about it. Because, like I said before, every map is pretty much the same in terms of distance to cross. So core and gate should be going down together regardless, within like 5 seconds of each other, for this to be done properly. And it's based off of your scout, right? Because your scout gets there and then this is going to happen. So they should be going down together all the time. And the reason why a core is really important, again, you can make it third or second. I don't give a shit, because if you make, at this point, you're going to be also saving for the Nexus. So if you realize, oh, no Nexus, this dude's being really aggressive really early, you're going to have enough money to throw down both anyways, because you're almost going to be having enough for a Nexus at that point. So instead of making the Nexus, you make core gate. And then second pylon. And core gate, second pylon, the beautiful thing about that is it's the same cost as a Nexus. So you can make either one of them at that point. You can either make the Nexus, which is 400, or you can make core gate pylon, which is 150, 150, 100, which adds up to 400. So it gives you options to defend either side. Like, or had to deal, not really defend, because defend is only one representing one of them. To deal with either side. If the Zerg's macro, you make Nexus. If the Zerg is all in as fuck, you make core gate pylon on top of your already existing gate. To get a full wall off, and then you also, once you save up for it, you make a zealot, and you chrono boost that bad boy out right after. And again, the gate needs, the zealot needs to be in the doorway of the opening here, or else you're gonna fucking die. And then that's really it. Like those are the big things you need to understand. So if there's anything else about that doesn't make sense, that what I just said, please feel free to ask, and I'll try to make sure I elaborate. But from this point on, you could then make a battery. You could start making stalkers. You could throw down your robo. You can make a sentry. You can make whatever the hell you want. But your Nexus will be delayed, and it's totally acceptable because you're playing defensive versus someone who's cheesing you.
Okay.
All right. So what I could do to finish off the lesson, if our dude is still here, and like from this point on, let me just say this, so I don't want to make you feel like I'm skipping anything here. You've already lost the game right now. You've already lost here. If you let this happen and they get in your base, you cannot come back from this, because like this Zerg, I do imagine that if he wanted to, he would have done it. But we did say, hey GC, tone it back a little bit, because you're like almost diamond and we're playing gold league here. So the thing is if he would have went and killed your pylon, guaranteed your pylon dies before the unit spawns, and then you're just dead. But I think he purposely chose to not kill your pylon. And then you can see it's still rough though, because even if he doesn't kill your pylon, if you just have one stalker that has no semblance of doorway blockage, and it has no way to bottleneck his units, if one stalker spawns and you're fully surrounded like this, and you're like, ah, shit, like it's just you can't keep up with what Zerg can do here if you don't have a wall. It's too much. You're allowing too much surface area essentially, and it just causes too much of a disruption in your base. And then you also didn't make a unit the entire time after your first stalker, which definitely fucked you over too. That was like 30 seconds late on your second unit. And then it's just too much. It just keeps coming and you just die. So what I want to do, if GC, if you're still there, I don't know if he's still there. He might not be there anymore. But if there's any Zerg out there really fast that wants to like early pull me, maybe I could give you an example like of me defending it myself right now again for you, Hindu. So I can show you what it looks like if you scout someone who's going to cheese you, and then you actually make your wall properly and you make your units and stuff like that.
Sure. Or I could try.
You want to cheese me?
I could just.
Or do you want me to cheese you, or you want to play the Protoss, or you want me to play the Protoss?
Oh no, I would do the Protoss, and I'll just try.
Okay.
So I think you do the. I mean, I think you do the. There's some replays you do where you do exactly what you say. So I can find those, but
sure.
I think it's good to practice, and then you can see how I do it.
Okay. And then after this, we'll probably repeat up.
Sure.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go a little bit light. Obviously, I'm not going to play like a GM cheese here. I'm not going to go super insane on you, but I will. I'll still do it roughly decent to you. All right, like I'll try to keep it around like a goldish level, what I think would be gold at least. And yeah, anyone who is a Zerg player out there that's watching this and going, I want to learn how to 12 pull someone, do not use this replay or this example that I'm giving you right now. This is not good. I am purposely fucking this build up to slow it down.
I already messed up. Oops.
It's all good.
Okay, so I see your finished pool and no natural, so you're coming hard.
Yep.
Oh shit.
You must construct additional pylons. That's funny. See, like right now you're dead again because you don't have the doorway covered. Also, you built your gateway too far up. See, like if this happens to you, the problem with this for you is that I can get good surface area on your units. So, because I'll watch, we'll aim move each other at this point, or micro, whatever you want to do. But you will definitely die now because there's too much surface area on your units. And then now from this point, you just die if I kill pylon. So you have to have. So you did the same thing again. Like, don't leave the game yet. Don't leave the game. This is what I want you to do. Okay. I'm just gonna let my link sit here for a second. Look at your gateway. Okay, really fast. Look at your gateway. And then like look at the one that's being chrono boosted. And now what I want you to do is I want you to move your mouse. Like pretend that you can cut the gateway into like thirds. Okay. Be like, all right, I'm gonna like see it in like a grid of 9. We got like 3 on the horizontal and 3 on the vertical side. So what I want you to do is I want you to put your mouse on the bottom right side of the gateway, like go down below it even, like almost on the side of your pylon essentially, like below the gateway. And then I want you to click and drag a line north of the gateway. And then if you don't intersect the gateway on the other side, your wall is fucked up. And then I want you to do the same thing on the north side, or like not north side, on the like the west side of the gateway, on the northwest side of the gateway. So on the west side, at the top of the west side, do the same thing. Drag your mouse in a line that goes to the east through the top of the gateway. And if it doesn't intersect the other gateway again, that's why I'm saying your wall is fucked. Because look now, if you look at my ling, I can run through the doorway. And you did the same thing on the wall because you actually did a corner to corner block on the wall. You did no overlap, and I can run through the fucking doorway here.
Yeah.
So you'd want your gateway to be right here. This line right there. That's where your gateway should be placed, right there on that wall. Because that's like if you try to build a gateway or try to build a pylon, like right where my Zergling is right now, and you'll notice if you drag it down by 1, like don't build it right here. I don't want you to build it right here in this spot. I just want you to put the like exactly where my ling is right now. I want you to put the edge of the pylon there, and you'll notice that it's green where my ling is as soon as my ling moves, but then right below my ling it's red. And then what that means is that's gonna block properly. But now if you put your pylon right there where my ling is right now, that's gonna be green, and that means that's open, right? And you built your fucking gateway above that, which means it's not gonna wall properly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you don't have any overlap. Now here, this is overlap that is actually good. This is like I can't fit through that, right? You overlap the core of the wall and you overlap the core of the gate. You actually did a 2 overlap on this one, so that's maybe a bit too much. But it's still overlap, which overlap is what you're looking for, right? But if you do too much overlap, it means you're gonna have a problem here where the wall gets fucking, it's too much on one side and it's not enough on the other.
Okay.
So the perfect way to have built this wall for you honestly, would have been if you would have.
Can you kill these?
Kill the gateways?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna take me a little bit because all my lings are dead. Kill your gateway with your zealot as well. You're gonna kill all my lings.
Oh wait, sorry.
All right, so we'll just kill your whole wall, and I'll guide you with an overlord on how to build it. Okay, I'm gonna kill your zealots because they need to die. They were smacking me the whole time, and I don't like that. No, I'm just joking. Okay, so try to build your gateway, and I'll tell you to cancel it if it's wrong. Correct. Okay, now build your second. Just build 3 gateways. Just pretend one of them's a core because it's the same size. I would say incorrect. Cancel that really fast. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to build your gateway either right there above my ling by 1, or right there to the right of my ling by 1. Overlap it, but space it by 1. Like, make sure there's overlap, but then move your mouse either to the right or to the north by 1. And then plant your building. So try it again.
Here?
I can't see what you're doing. I have to see it when you build it. That's wrong. Cancel it. It's because you have no gap. So like you put a gap there. So you can build it like right to the right of my ling right now. With like, for instance, like right when my overlord is like over, build it right here. But my ling should not be in the way to block your gateway. So you can actually build it right now, even though I'm attacking your gateway.
I have to let that pylon finish.
The other pylon should be in range still as well. No, wrong. It's too high.
Too high. Okay.
It's because they build it down by 1. Build it where it was, but down by 1.
Here?
Correct. So now, actually, yeah, that's correct. Now, what I want you to do is put your mouse right on my Zergling right now. And then I want you to go on the bottom left of my Zergling, and I want you to click, and then I want you to drag a line that goes through both your gateways. And now, do you notice how they both intersect each other?
Oh, yeah.
You need to wall like that, because now put your probe in the doorway. And put it on a hold position in the doorway. Like, put it a little bit further south. And then now hold position it right there. My link can't get through. But the way you keep building gateways before, my links can always go through your fucking door. And now imagine if that was a stalker in the doorway or a zealot in the doorway. And then your last building should go. So you always want to gap your first and second building off of each other. It makes it really easy to wall. Because if you don't gap your first and second building, it means you now have to gap your third building. You have to gap some building. You can't just never gap. Because if you don't gap, it means you're walling your base in, and you have no way to walk out of your base anymore. But if you gap your third building rather than your second building, you have to do 2 things at once then. Not only do you have to line it up against the wall, but you also have to gap it, which is going to be harder to do. Because you're putting 2 things on you at once. Whereas if you gap your second building that is in the middle, you just have to set a gap up, and then your third building, all it has to do is connect to the wall, which is easy because you just put it against your other building. It makes it much easier to wall properly. So always build your first building against, against the edge of the wall like this, like you did. And then your second building has a gap that overlaps gateway to gateway. And then all you got to do with your third building is have an overlap that connects to the other wall. So you could now, what you'd want to do is, the way you've set up your wall, you'd have to build your gateway right here. Because you built too far to the east too fast. On this map particularly, I would say you're going to have the easiest time walling if you go north and then east around your wall. If that makes sense. Like if your core was right here instead. Yeah, no, that's perfect, right? So all you gotta do, if you build the gap in your second building like you did, all your third building has to do is make sure there's no gap on the top. Like I can't walk on the edge of your base, and make sure there's no gap between your gateway and your core or whatever, or your gateway and gateway. So you made this wall. This is a correct wall. And now if your soccer stands right where my ling is, my units can't get in your base now. Because if all my lings try to flood in your base, this is what it looks like. I'm just like, fuck, get in there, right? And it can't fit. That's what you need to have. That's how you need to play against Zerg. Because if you don't do this, it's fucked up. Because this is what's gonna happen to you a lot. Right now what's gonna happen to you a lot if you do a corner block, where you're gonna be like, I'm blocking. Oh wait, no, I'm not. Ah, fuck. Okay, well I'm dead now. You have to have overlap. So does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, so you really try to just, every game you play against Zerg, really practice that, and you really need to just make sure you understand the concept of your gateways need to intersect each other. So if you make a, again, if you make a line on whatever the door is, so the third gateway doesn't matter here because it's not a door. Only gateway number 1 and 2 matter. If you make, and again, it's a horizontal door because your gateways are left and right of each other, so it's horizontally placed. If they were north and south of each other, that would be a vertically placed door. So instead of, so what I mean by that is if your door is horizontal, you make a horizontal line going from top of the left gateway and bottom of the right gateway, and they need to intersect. If it was a vertical door, you could do it in a way where you go from the south side of one of your gateways, like southeast of your left gateway, and then southwest of your top gateway, if that makes sense. Because if you're like, if you need to, like, what I'm saying is if you have a gateway that is going to go vertical of your existing first gateway, you'd want to put it like the edge of your gateway where my ling is right now, and then the gateway goes up there a little bit more right there, and then the final part of the gateway is right there, if that makes sense. That's like the left side of the gateway where it would need to be placed if it was a vertical wall. And then obviously if you look at my overlord, this is where the gateway would extend to, right about right there. Like if you look at like the bottom of the overlord, we'll move it down a little bit so it makes more sense because you can't see the bottom of it right now. Is that like the gateway, like if it was a vertical wall, the lings would represent the left side of the gate and the overlord would represent the right side of the gateway. Is that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so but the big thing you gotta understand is this ling that's running right now, there is a door there, because if you take your mouse and put it on this ling right now that's sitting there, that's by itself, that I just moved, put your mouse above that and drag it down, lings intersect with the gateway. So the edge of your gateway would intersect with the other edge of your gateway. However, if you built your gateway like this, right here, if you built it like that, now put your mouse over my ling on the top again, and does it intersect? The answer is no, it doesn't. So that's when you'd have lings that would be on a corner block that could run into your base super easy. You gotta really be careful about not building your gateway out of position. It needs to be right there. And right there. Like if you put your mouse down again, it intersects. You have to have intersect.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
so
man.
in this, building this wall is like the middle one would be the cyber.
Yep.
And then this one, the top and bottom would be the gate.
Yes.
Mineral cluster expended.
Cool. Man, like.
It's I think
so many like, yeah.
Mineral field depleted.
There's a lot to learn.
yeah, no, for sure. It's a lot to learn if you want to play as efficient as you can. And if you don't play like this, you're gonna, like you said, you're gonna struggle versus people who play aggressive. Like this is very very important against Zerg.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah, this was great. I mean, if you thought this was good, you enjoyed it, I wouldn't mind setting up a couple more sessions.
Oh, of course.
Just kind of do this kind of early aggression and how to address it and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't mind. I'll do as many coaching lessons as you want, man. I will always give everyone a disclaimer though that ever asks for coaching, and I will say if anyone ever thinks that they don't want to buy coaching or they're not sure about it, I highly encourage you to go to my coaching videos I've already done, or my Bronze to GM videos that I've already done because they're free, and you might literally learn what you're looking for in those videos. You just have to take time to look at them. But yeah, I mean, if you want to buy a coaching lesson, I'm all for it. I'm down. I'll totally do another one.
Yeah, for me, it's the it's like actually playing and then you know, it's just doing the actual build and playing with you is like what I think really makes it worth it. But
sure.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I
man.
understand that, you know, you review a lot of the stuff that is in your other videos. So, but it's good because as we do it, then you already know that you talked about it, and we can, you know, talk about other stuff.
Sure. No, I mean, don't worry about me being like, oh, if I've already talked about that, he's not going to talk about it again. That's what I do. Like, I talk about the same shit like for years, so it doesn't bother me.
Sure.
But anyways, dude, I'll send this to you, this VOD to you, again, by probably like tomorrow or maybe the day after, but probably by tomorrow. And yeah, thank you again for doing another lesson, man. It was good.
Yeah.
And then
Thanks, man.
one more time, apologies about being late today. I always feel bad about that shit, and I don't do that very often, so my bad.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
All right, have a good rest of your night, dude.
Thanks, you too.
All right, later, man.
Bye.
All right, guys, that's been another coaching lesson with our boy Hindu. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope it was informative to you. Shout out to GC for helping us earlier in the lesson. He's not here anymore, but GC, if you're watching the YouTube video, thanks again, dude, or if you're listening to the stream, thanks again for helping. It is appreciated. And anyone else who also attempted to help us, like the other people in the chat, thank you guys as well. Sometimes we'd like to bring in people from the stream, and so it is super appreciated when you guys offer to help. So thank you, much love, and I will see you guys in the next video, whatever that may be. So until then, good luck in your own games. Take it easy, and yeah, peace, guys. See ya. Take it easy. Bye. See ya.